So you just did a tour. It seemed pretty successful. And how did things go for you on the tour you just pretty much finished?
Oh yeah, well, very overwhelming because after this whole pandemic thing, we didn't expect that touring. We saw a lot of bands canceling shows and stuff, and we had to postpone our tours as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then having these kind of shows was kind of unexpected, especially in South and Central America. The whole Latin American shows were overwhelming, especially with shows in Chile and Colombia,
Yeah,
being more than 10,000 people. It's great, crazy. For us playing these arenas still after a pandemic like this. Yeah.
yeah.
So very overwhelming and very grateful to do that. Yeah.
It's interesting because it seems to be more difficult for bands to tour. The cost of everything has gone way up. And,
Exactly.
And what's really been difficult is that, and then, one of the things that I've seen is people are canceling shows partially because, most bands weren't touring for 2 years. Now everybody's trying to do it at once and people only have so much money. So when you get 10 bands coming in a week, you don't really get much of a pre-sale. You don't know what's going to show up and what's not, plus the cost of everything. And you guys seem to really have weathered that storm, as we say here, pretty well, because I don't know, I'm looking at some of these photos and videos and you have quite a few people showing up to see you. And
yeah, absolutely. That's what I was saying. It was pretty much insane. We didn't expect it to go that way. And
sure,
maybe maybe the album we put out helped as well. It was a very successful album, and that might have helped as well. And what I figured is with a lot of bands that I'm also observing, time is a big factor. How long are you around? What is the body of your work you've done over the years? And now with a band like Helloween that is around for such a long time, it was always ups and downs, of course, like in any relationship or in everybody's life, lives. It's always ups and downs you have in your lives, and also with a band career, it's the same thing. But basically, if you would like draw a line, it was always going up over, like when you see the whole body of work and the whole history of the band, it was always going up, and so I think time helps as well, like having consistent work and consistent good albums. I think, like, of course, a notch here and there, but I think that helps, like having a huge amount of work done and a stable fan base. And especially, I have the feeling within the metal scene, you have different sorts of metal fans as well. It's not like there's like one metal scene after all. Not like it was when I was a young kid. So it's a lot of like split scenes within the metal scene, and I have the feeling that because Helloween is still a rock and roll band, there are a lot of rock and roll songs we're playing as well, not only metal songs. We probably we're combining people from different sorts of metal genres as well, like fans who would be into thrash metal or death metal would also come to a Helloween show to have a good time, and then you have rock fans who love the ballads and the rock songs, and they can dig into metal as well a little bit. So I have the feeling that we're combining a lot of people in our shows, and having a great party going on. And maybe that helps as well, I have actually, everything I said, maybe it's just bullshit, probably. I don't know. It's I have no clue, but that's what I was observing, and I think maybe it's the case.
I think that with social media and with, you have all this access to music like Spotify and everything, I think people have branched out a little more than they used to. I know what you're talking about. I mean, you and I are pretty much the same age. And when we were younger, you had the death metal crowd, you had the power metal crowd, you had the thrash metal crowd. It was like a separate thing. And when you go to shows now, I see the same, I can see the same people into completely different kinds of bands. And my son is like that. My son actually is a huge death metal fan. He likes Helloween. He likes all these different bands. And
how old is your son?
He's 16.
Oh yeah.
He has the same birthday.
He
has the same birthday as Andy. As funny as that is.
That's funny. Yeah, actually, I think that's the time where you would explore different kinds of music. And then also being 16, when I was young, I wasn't only in metal either. It was more, people were more down to one music style back then, and I wasn't, and and that's what I like about the time right now, is that a lot of people are into different types of music. I would see fans with a Depeche Mode or 30 Seconds to Mars shirt appearing at a Helloween concert, which wasn't common when I joined the band 20 years ago. It's broken up. People are listening to playlists and they would listen to different sorts of music, and I like that. I think it's very open-minded, and it's about the music that's touching you. And so I see that in our crowd, that it's not only, so to say, metal crowd. It's just people who are loving rock music, and loving the rock and roll vibe, and maybe that helps as well with our shows, because we transport that feeling. I had once a talk with Hansi from Blind Guardian, and he was telling me about his experience when Helloween appeared, and they were just starting out as well, and he told me it's very interesting to observe for him, because Blind Guardian is like very constructed, everything is like very thought through, and he said, like, probably Helloween is the only band in that genre that is still more rock and roll than everybody else in that type of like power metal, speed metal genre, Yeah. And I think he's right. It's a great observation he did. I think it's right. There's a lot of chaos going on when we're going on stage. There's a lot of chaos going on when we're deciding to record an album, So it's that energy, I think, that brings people to our shows, and maybe that's why the concert went the way they went after those 2 years. When everybody was canceling.
You know what to do. Hit the subscribe button to become an official follower of the Metal Command Show here on YouTube for great interviews, reviews, commentary, and much more. Also, don't forget to check out www.metalcommand.net.